Profiles in Cinemania. Rob Reiner in Memoriam. Okay, folks, we're a bit late on this one. We usually get these memorial pieces out right after news drops that a figure in the film industry has passed on. Fact is, though, we've all been pretty broken up about the death of Rob Reiner. Personally, the news that he and his wife had been stabbed to death hit me like a gut punch. I found that I was crying, and I sequestered myself in the bathroom for a few minutes until I recovered. It was inconceivable. I don't remember ever having had such an involuntary reaction to the news of the death of a celebrity in my adult life. I mean, it's not like I knew the guy or anything. The closest I ever got to Reiner, personally or professionally, was when some bald guy brushed past me at Sacramento International Airport and some other guy yelled, "Hey, meathead!" at him, which clued me in that said bald guy was Rob fucking Reiner. But hey, I sure felt like I knew him. And perhaps therein laid the source of Rob Reiner's Cinemania. Everybody felt like they knew him. He was like the warm-hearted uncle for the entirety of Generation X. You know, the one who used to come over when you were sick and tell you the best stories? That guy. Reiner was an absolute master at creating parasocial relationships with his audience, well before the general public had even heard the word parasocial, let alone had a pop-psych understanding of it. And while you may not like every film Reiner made in his career, chances are good that there's at least one Reiner film you treasure and quote incessantly. And chances are better that it's one of his core four. This is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, and When Harry Met Sally. Each of these four films is a completely different genre. Mockumentary, coming-of-age drama, fantasy adventure, romantic comedy. Each had a completely different target audience, and each is held up as the best of its genre. Steven Spielberg may have tried to make the Venn diagram for each of his films as large as possible, but Rob Reiner was cool with making several smaller circles that just overlapped a lot. And as a footnote, even if Reiner didn't create the mockumentary genre, he certainly perfected it. There is a core of kindness in Reiner's films. That is, unless you're talking about Misery, which, well, the title says it all, really. But even that had empathy, because as a secular humanist, Reiner knew that life is pain, and anyone who says differently is selling something. In a Reiner film, there is always at least one character you identify with in one way or another, and another who reminds you of someone you know. Even when you were laughing at the characters, as in Spinal Tap, it wasn't laughing at them in any kind of mean, abusive way. You laughed more out of empathy and recognition. Perhaps it was this core of kindness and empathy that led to Reiner's involvement in liberal politics. He spent decades working with the American Humanist Association to fight the capture of the levers of power by religious fundamentalists, because he recognized that a fascist in a cassock is no different than a fascist in a business suit, is no different than a fascist in a snappy military uniform. He poured money into Democratic candidates and causes, but he didn't just write checks. Oh, no. He swung his fame weight around as an on-the-ground activist for humane causes his entire adult life. Enough that South Park lampooned him for it. Reiner was one of the first celebrities to take on big tobacco, and win. He was a lifelong advocate for LGBTQ rights and led a successful campaign to overturn California's ban on gay marriage. In 2006, Reiner was rumored to be seeking the governorship in the scrum of candidacies that emerged during California's recall election. But ultimately, Reiner decided he didn't want to run. Quote, "I don't want to be governor. I actually want to get things done." Unquote. Meaning, sadly, voters were denied the chance of seeing Rob Reiner go head-to-head against Arnold Schwarzenegger. We're all poorer for it. And in recent years, it was clear through Reiner's advocacy and activism that he thought Trump and his pack of fascists could suck my fat one. Mel Brooks once said that tragedy is when I stub my toe, comedy is when you fall down an open sewer and die. Anything funny can be painful when it's close enough, and any amount of pain is hilarious from far away. Rob Reiner was the master of both perspectives. He could bring the agony of growing up close enough to make you feel like you were the one on those train tracks with your buddy standing by you. He could make the anguish of true love the most uproarious comedy when you take a step back and wonder how exactly a stable boy can turn into a dread pirate and go against a Sicilian when death is on the line. The unfathomable nature of honor and duty becomes clear as crystal when you're up against it in a courtroom watching Jack Nicholson explain exactly why you need me on this wall. The biggest fan in the world can become the worst person in your life when they're standing in the room with you. Closer, farther away. pain becomes comedy, becomes pain again. Rob Reiner pushed the limits of these primal forces in his movies until distinction becomes meaningless. Just how far can you take a joke? Just how much can the truth hurt? Where is the limit? Well, you can't handle the truth, but if you have to put a number to it on a scale of 1 to 10, Reiner's movies, they go to 11. Take a moment to look through all the things Rob Reiner made. Look closely, and you'll find you know and love more of it than you think. And if there's a Rob Reiner movie you haven't seen yet, well, there's a very good chance one of your new favorite movies is there waiting to be discovered. If you rediscover an old classic or uncover a new gem, raise a toast with us to Rob Reiner and join me in saying, as you wish. And there it is. That's what the work and the life of Rob Reiner was all about. To make us laugh, to make us cry, and to blave, which we all know means to bluff, big card player. This has been another profile on Cinemania. This episode was written by Ethan Ireland and Andy Slack, and was performed by Ethan Ireland. Music by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio, and by Meteor at meteormusic.bandcamp.com.